Training camp's pretty much wrapped up, but we're looking at the Cleveland Browns today and getting our first look at Isaiah Bond as he came out for practice today. We're going to watch him catch some balls, work through some drills, everything else. Before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're looking at practice every day, seeing what your players are doing behind the scenes. Even with training camp wrapping up, we're going to still watch practice throughout the season. Click that button. Stop missing out. I'm going to help you win some fantasy leagues too, so you better stick around for that. We're going to loop this and keep talking ball. 1:15 here. There's a lot to say. There's a lot to say here with Isaiah Bond. But here we go, getting our first look. And I did not really look at these. I grabbed them and just jumped on here to talk ball with you guys. So this is my first look too. I just grabbed them and I'm ready to talk some ball. Here's him working through some drills. He's right there in the middle. This is a fun prospect. It's a huge get for the Browns, actually, especially for the price. We'll talk more about that too. There he is. There he is. Here's the cinematic clip. This one's from the Browns. Getting it from old Pickett right there. Little two gloves. There he is. And he's looking to do some big things with the Browns. He's looking to do some big things with the Browns. There he is, working through some drills, catching some balls, like I said in the intro. Hot day out there. Hot day in Ohio. Ohio's been sweltering for Ohio. 90-ish degrees, depending on where you're at. There's another one. Looking solid. Looking solid again. First day of practice. Getting his feet wet. Getting ramped back up. But the thing about Isaiah Bond, one of the top ATHs in his recruiting class in 2022 went to Alabama. Everybody wanted this kid. Per 24/7 Sports, he had 35 offers. Heavily recruited kid out of high school. And when you watch the tape, and this is a prospect where you got to watch the tape, because the balls weren't flowing at Alabama, even though he led the team in receptions his second year and second behind Jermaine Burton in receiving yards his second year, which was pretty good considering it was his second year. And then transferring to Texas and was able to be on the field and compete, showed some promise there. You really got to go to the tape with this kid. You really have to, because this is a wide receiver that's twitched up. Not only just twitched up, but he creates separation off the whip. Right off the whip. Right off that break. And then on top of that, he's got the speed to stretch the field, get into that cushion, and really be a bully to the safeties downfield. This is a wide receiver, I believe, is very technical and nuanced, but yet very raw at the same time. Like, he has the technical know-how to create separation, and he's very twitched up. He's like a natural for the position. This is a wide receiver. Like, as you're gearing up for Alabama that second year and going into that last year at Texas, you just watched the practice clips, and you knew something could come great out of this kid. And you were just always waiting for more from Bond. You were just always waiting for that to happen. Like, you can definitely see it. Like, it's always simmering. Like, you got the steak in the pan, but you got that crust on the bottom, but it just ain't cooked all enough. Like, you got to get the crust on the other side. You got to start on the butter and the herbs in there. Like, this is where we're at. We're in the pan right now. We're cooking, but we got to get cooked all the way. Like, we got a good sear, though. Like, if we're talking steak, he's got a good sear. Like, he's got some good technical ability, especially, like, you get him in the red zone, breaking off routes. Like, he creates separation quick. He's in and out of those breaks quick, and he's a guy that is just nasty, tough to cover, and you have to be ready every snap. If not, he's going to burn you. He's going to burn you vertically. He'll burn you east or west, depending on what you call, but he can do it all. He has the potential for that. You just got to strike gold. Like, he's got to take that step forward. That's the thing we've waited throughout his whole collegiate career. And that's something that if he does not take that step forward here with the Browns, is something you're going to see long term. Now, talking about price. Now, I get it. UDFA, but not your normal UDFA, because we know the instance. We know why we're here. But they paid him pretty good. Price range around end of the second round, early third round. So that's how he was viewed, and they probably couldn't get by paying him less, or he would have went somewhere else. They probably couldn't get by with that when you really think about Isaiah Bond here. This was a wide receiver paid to go day 2 of the NFL draft somewhere. Like, we were not expecting him to fall into day 3. We weren't expecting him to be a first-round pick. I think he probably was mocked a couple times in the first round, but once mock drafts got flooded, he was out of there. But his technical ability and his ability to stretch it and eat that cushion is something you're going to see. But the thing about this, he's a little bit raw. Like, he needs to polish up a little bit. He needs to be more consistent on the field. He needs to take over games. That's what we wanted to see at the college level. He was just in some weird situations. He had that ankle issue at Texas. But now we're with the Browns, and this is an ambiguous depth chart. Very ambiguous depth chart here. Floria is out. He's gone now. We'll see what happens if he ever comes back. But we're watching to see what he can do. He's going to latch onto this roster. They're not going to let him go. He's going to give them some talent on the back end. And we're watching the rest of these pieces at play. You got Jerry Jeudy. You got Tillman. Thrash per our lads. They got him listed as the wide receiver 3. Deontay Johnson has been dropping balls in preseason. There's an opening for him here. And it might take a year because we got one more preseason game, and then it's blast off into the season. That's the thing about this. If you're looking at this for fantasy football, redraft-wise, it's outside the scope right now. You'll watch the snaps in season just to see if he ever gets opportunity, but it's probably going to be outside your scope most of the year. Just watch the snaps, watch the routes ran. Dynasty-wise, considering that we know he's back, he's a waiver wire claim. He's a guy you can pick up. That's for sure. He does have some talent. I don't know if that'll ever emerge. I don't know if that'll ever hit. But he has the potential in his game. He's got to develop, though. He's got to get consistent. He's got to be on the field. He's got to stay healthy. The Browns can't keep drafting wide receivers over him. Odds are, though, because you look at Flacco, they ain't going to have him long-term. Kenny Pickett ain't going to be there long-term. They don't like Shedeur. Or they'd give him more opportunities because he's been playing well. They love Gabriel, but he's not going to be a long-term starter. He's just a long-term backup. They got 2 first-round picks next year. Odds are they're drafting a quarterback somehow, some way with that. And I think that's always been in the plans and in the cards, as they're not really letting their rookies get the opportunities to really prove themselves or develop. It's hard to do with 4 quarterbacks. I think they should have just stuck with 3. I think they should have just let Shedeur keep slipping, because that now they have like a mess there. And we've been talking about that. It's been a mess. They're probably going to go quarterback in the draft next year. Knowing them, they're probably dead set with that. They're rolling with Flacco to see if he can emerge. If they can get back to with what they have with Flacco when he was hitting 2 years ago, or however long that was. That's what you're looking at. But with Bond, this is a great depth chart for him because it's ambiguous. Like, that's going to give him opportunities. And honestly, you want to see if he ever gets on the field, if he flashes. If he does, great. But the big thing is we're waiting for OTAs and minicamp next year. We're waiting to hear some buzz in training camp. We're waiting to see if he can get on the field. He might be able to get on the field. He might be able to make it on the field. The thing about this wide receiver depth chart is it's ambiguous. So he's going to have to flash. He's going to have to be a nightmare right now, though. He's got to practice with his face on fire. Because this coaching staff, I think you know with the Shedeur reps, they're not willing to step outside the box. They're not here to gamble to win big. They're here to not lose. So he's got to play with his face on fire once they get some bigger reps in. 11 on 11, 7 on 7s, 1v1s. He's got to practice with his face on fire because they're not going to step outside the box to make anything happen for him. Because we've seen this. I've covered this all summer long. They're going to be conservative. They're not going to take any risk with this. That's the thing about this with Isaiah Bond. And I get it. I've looped these clips. And if you're not used to the channel, that's annoying you. But we're talking ball here. And everything I'm saying is true. You're going to have to watch him throughout the season. You're going to watch the snaps, how many routes ran, and then what he does with that. And then you're keying into OTAs and minicamp. I believe you got talent here that could surface. But you're going to have to pay attention to it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.